find your calm space. And I'm very intentional with find your calm. I use it for a good reason, because sometimes it's not that you don't have it. It's just that you don't have access to it in the moment.
For you parents with children with autism who are maybe regularly having meltdowns, it can be a really stressful time and it can be a challenging thing to face. Lafaya Mitchell is with us today. She is a licensed marriage and family therapist and the creator of the Lafaya Way. And Lafaya, these meltdowns that are all too common in homes with children with autism, what can be done on the part of the parent to help de-escalate those meltdowns?
There are quite a few things that parents can do to de-escalate a meltdown, but I think I want to start with the foundation of what to do. Within the Lafaya Way, the philosophy that I've developed, I have a step one. And in step one, it is find your calm. So one of the most important things to remember as a parent, especially of a child who is on the autism spectrum or has other hypersensitivities, say sensory issues or maybe 0 to 60 anger. So when I get into talking about hypersensitivity, I mean just they're highly reactive to stimuli that may not, cause as much reactivity in your less sensitive person. When you have a child like this, they tend toward this thing that I call emotion soaking. And emotion soaking, you will find when I give the definition, it's very similar to what happens with the empath. So there's lots of information out there right now about, empaths and how sensitive they are. Now, this is dealing in, say, that other side of it, that other end of the spectrum, where we're delving more into the idea of hypersensitivity, because your hypersensitive individual, especially those who are more along the line of the autism spectrum, they tend towards isolating from everyone else. They tend towards shutting down, getting as far away from everybody as they can, engaging in behaviors that will cause others to kind of leave them alone because they're overstimulated and overwhelmed. But when you have all of these hypersensitivities or these sensitivities in place, then there's another piece that we tend to miss, which is they tend to feel into the negative energy of other people. So they're actually taking what's going on or how you're feeling internally, and they're taking that on as their own. They are actually matching whatever's happening with you internally, and that's on top of what they're already experiencing.
Oh, wow.
So if you're finding yourself very upset in interactions with a child who is on the autism spectrum or has autism-like traits, because I definitely don't want to pigeonhole it so that it doesn't fit in other areas. So that's why I was, very careful to mention that we also work with reactive attachment disorders, your ADHDs, and you're also working with even intergenerational trauma. Those kids who have just been set from birth almost to have a high sensitivity to those things around them. They're hyper alert, all those kind of things.
Despite the title of this video being directed toward autism meltdowns, what you're saying is that the strategy that you're talking about right now is applicable to many, many circumstances.
Yes. And I try to be so careful about it because I have worked with autism spectrum for many years, but what was learned was that the method or the philosophy that I work behind and the method that I use, it actually works for those who have the traits, those sensitivities. And I always want to point towards hypersensitivity and emotion soaking, which I want to give the definition of as well. Emotion soaking is the unintentional sponging of other people's energies. And this is specifically when we're dealing with the negative energies. This is kind of that sixth element, fifth or sixth element that we miss. So we know they have sensory issues with sound. We know they have sensory issues, maybe with some things, sight, certain colors, auditory, and tactile. But most of the time we don't really think about that area of kind of the internal experience.
Right.
Tacking on or attaching or latching on to other people's negative energy.
As it pertains to de-escalation, then we have to be cognizant of all those things that you've mentioned, because the first step in this is to reach that sense of calmness. And that can be really difficult if the situation is a meltdown.
Yes.
And that can be challenging for parents. So how do they do that? How do they reach a level of calm in what is otherwise maybe deemed a chaotic situation?
First, now, the reason I mentioned this as a foundation, the find or calm, is because sometimes the key to de-escalation is never really having the escalation happen in the first place.
I see.
So this is how you kind of proactively stay ahead of it. Let's say that you're all having a bad day, or you kind of missed getting ahead of it and they're already in meltdown. Some of the ways that you can move yourself into a find your calm space, and I'm very intentional with find your calm. I use it for a good reason, because sometimes it's not that you don't have it, it's just that you don't have access to it in the moment. So I always talk about, I have some parents actually joke with me, they're like, find my calm. Where is it? Is it under the bed?
I'm looking
Is it
here
in the closet?
I'm looking everywhere for it. I can't find it.
Yes, it was a fun conversation that we had. Also, this is getting into that idea of being proactive. If you are yourself having a bad day, if you say did not get enough sleep, if you're hangry, if you're extra, tired or overwhelmed from work, then there is a chance that you're kind of already set to be upset.
And that happens to the best of us. I mean,
Yes.
this is being human, right? I mean, these things
Yes.
happen. We get into those types of places because of a variety of different inputs in our lives. Yeah.
Yes. And so one of the keys to finding your calm in those tough moments, those meltdown moments, is first of all, check into the things that you can actually control. Check into those things that may be impacting your level of upset, those hidden things that cause reactivity now in the parent. So now when we're emotionally reactive and we're all upset, there's a reason for that. One way to find your calm is to start to map out what those reasons could potentially be. One of my favorite techniques to teach parents is to use the HALT method that they use in the 12-step program. So you do a self-check-in. You ask yourself, am I hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? If you do this self-check-in, then that will help you to identify, oh yeah, I didn't get enough rest last night. That perhaps might be contributing to the level of upset that I'm feeling. Because it's not necessarily that my child doesn't want to clean their room that, cause all of this upset. So that's kind of one of those little key. You're also checking in on the other. Say you have a child who, when they don't get a nap or they missed a snack, they get a little cranky. It also helps you to kind of keep in context what might really be going on. So then you're not overreacting, putting all of how you feel onto the thing that you're looking at or that happened right there in the moment.
And you know what I love about this, Lafaya, is the fact that it's built on your advanced relational philosophy, right? This is the Lafaya Way, essentially, a little portion of what you teach. What I love about this is that it's pointing out that it can be proactive, that there are things that you can do so that we don't even get to the situation where there is a meltdown. And so that proactive approach, I think, is really quite key and interesting. If someone's watching this, a parent of a child, a hypersensitive child, or with autism or on the spectrum, how would they contact you to learn more about the work you do?
You can find me on lafayaway.com. That's my website. You can also find me through YouTube at Lafaya Way. I also have a Facebook page at Lafaya Way for the easy finding of it, but it's under my agency name, Peace of Mind Therapeutic Solutions. You can email me. I'm very open to receiving your feedback and your questions. Lafaya@lafayaway.com.
For those who are watching who need your help, I'm sure they're going to be reaching out to you. Thank you so much for sharing this, breaking the tip of the iceberg really on this, but I think it's really key to help parents out there who need that help right now. Thank you so much.
Very happy to.